This video is going to be all about this spectacular Thomas & Friends All Engines Go Mattel Collection 5-pack. I found this in the final retailer that's selling Thomas toys at my local large shopping mall. It certainly caught my eye, but before we get in and look at these beautiful collectibles, without using the word toys, let's take a look at the Thomas & Friends stock in the store where I found this 5 days out from Christmas. Okay, this is the Thomas toy sale in not my favourite retailer, I'll just say it like that. I was here back when the Thomas stock appeared, and this is the only retailer that has Thomas toys in the shopping centre as I'm looking at this. So there's the sale there. Across the top shelf there's this here. I'm 5 days out from Christmas, so it's a very interesting time to look at the stock here. I'm not going to explain everything. That you can see the video hopefully tells the story here. Okay, so that's what's there. Coming down to the next level, this is what I'm seeing here. These are all motorized, but they're all the talking ones, and this is the new style when it's got this strip down the side. Look at the characters which are there. There's one of these here, which is probably the pick. There's that there, but just notice what is here. Okay, you can see what's there. I don't need to tell you exactly what's here. You can see what's left behind. Okay, looking at that there. Yeah, this one has been a hard sell all the time. I just go down to that shelf there, but give me an edit here. In the darkness there, there's Nia, and there's Nia over here. There's more Nia. This is all the talking stuff. There's Whiff there, okay, which might be a bit of a nice thing. Nia and another Whiff. Okay, I'll put all this back neat and tidily. I was just there, down to here. You can see what's here. More of the talking stuff. If I go along here, you'll see the characters which are there. Okay, that might be a nice pick, but it's a talking engine, and they've been left behind. Going across here, it's more of the motorized stuff. It's all talking as well. Okay, yeah, we're seeing the same characters over and over, aren't we? That was that shelf there. Remember, this is 5 days out from Christmas, and there's these here, which are sort of connected to what was up on the top shelf. And going down here, there's that there. This is all your baby-fied Thomas stuff, and there's this item here which I spoke extensively about the last time I was in here looking at this here, and I think what I said, it needed another talking doodah with that to make it really something to grab. So that was the Thomas sell. I've got a bit of an audience watching me at the moment. There is one thing that I grabbed from here and it was spectacular. Maybe that's going to be part of this video or maybe not, but that is the Thomas sell in the only retailer in my local shopping centre that sells this stuff. I suppose I've just got to be happy that at least that stuff is there. It's better than nothing. I'm back on the review table. This is going to be the very rough running order of this video, so if there's any crap here that you're not interested in, I highly suggest you go and watch something else on YouTube. I was lucky to find this. It was the only one in store. It's a store I hate going into, but I want you to tell me what's missing on the box here. Let's read the bottom there. It says Thomas, Percy, Thandy the Rail Flipper, Diesel and Carly the Crane. Okay, we've got the names of the characters in this beautiful box. Let's take a look at the back. I've got to spin it. This is the back of the same pack. I've covered up something there to avoid being flagged on this site from the dumb systems that YouTube use. You tell me what's missing here. We're going to go in tighter very soon. Okay, we've got that read there. It's basically the characters. Thomas All Engines Go, look for our show in every discernible language on earth. Got a nice picture here of what's in the box playing on the carpet. Sadly, there's no track to be seen, but hey, it's not me taking the photo. We got that gobbledygook there. It's probably impressing lawyers more than anyone else. And there's that there, and I can't read any of that. And we've got a warning there, small parts in every language known to man. So just think I'm a parent in store. I'm trying to work out what this is all about. I can't learn anything from what I've seen so far. Maybe there's something written down the side here. Well, that side's got nothing. What does this side say? Oh, there's something just there. It says made in Thailand in a few languages there, and also Mattel Canada Incorporated, blah blah blah. I'm still searching for vital information. That's across the top. Maybe there's some secrets along the bottom of the box here. There's a whole bunch of almost micro printing there. 2024 Mattel, made in Thailand again, blah blah blah, conforms to blah blah blah. Boring. And on this side here, well, licensing blah blah blah. Copyright 2024, and I can see I paid 29 Australian dollars for this, and there's a barcode there as well. I'm trying to be as fair as possible here, and I'm being very careful because to me this is a nice collectible. Being a Thomas collector, I'm going to have to unbox this one very carefully and always look after the box. So what's this pack's name? What brainiac at Mattel thought, let's develop this 5-pack and not give it a frickin' name? I mean, give me a frickin' break! Okay, let's get creative and not cranky. Let's give this wonderful pack a name. Let's call it the Thomas All Engines Go Disaster Rescue Pack. If it was called that, imagine how awesome it would be. And then you're not trying to sell a secret. I mean, who in the toy company decided not to give that pack a name? Let's just curiously see if that AEG pack there has a name. I'll just gently put Bluey aside, and I'll just very carefully pull out this wondrous multi-pack. Okay, this beautiful All Engines Go pack, it's 8 characters, 1 piece of rolling stock. It says 11 pieces. My God, it's got a name. Mystery of Lookout Mountain. Hooray! It's a miracle. Put a name on something and the mystery disappears. I can see Metal Engine there, which they don't use anymore. It's now called Metal Collection, I believe. This is a 2022 licensed collectible Thomas blah blah. I'm trying not to use the word toy. The back of the box looked like this. Whether or not that's related to one of the episodes, I've got no frippin' idea. I don't watch the shit show. Maybe you can tell me what's going on there, but at least that looks far more interesting than that there. Yeah, it's the old chalk and cheese shot, isn't it? I thought I could get one of those in this video somewhere. It's not rocket science to give something a bloody name. It's, you know, the basics of selling something. Anyway, I'll stop ranting and I'll put this back away very carefully where it came from over there without upsetting the apple cart. Okay. And all that unnecessary ranting, that fell onto the table. It's another reminder of some very, very poor decision making that had to be reversed. As boring as this is, I'm going to have to open this up in a conventional way. Because, well, let's just say I might have to sell this to pay for bills and things. The revenue on YouTube is now completely rubbish. Nothing seems to repair that. And for all I know, I might have to box this back up and flog it online. Just trying to get this out single-handedly without damaging anything. Okay, I've got that out. We'll take a look at the back of this. It says Metal Collection there. It's got that picture there. You'll know when it's on eBay because it's got that going on in the back. That would have been my one. Okay, I'll get into this. What do I call it? The Disaster Rescue Pack. It's probably related to an episode. I don't watch All Engines Go. I did watch a couple of episodes to get my head around how it operates, and I may explain what I don't like about it when I get some of these onto the turntable. There's a few things I really dislike about All Engines Go in the way they depict the trains. Maybe you'll have your thoughts on that, but I think what I'm pulling out here looks spectacular. In fact, I know it does. And this Thomas here looks completely and utterly spiffo. Okay, in-hand appraisal is next. Okay, the infamous in-hand appraisal. This is Sandy Little Rail Flipper. This is a very nice rendition of Sandy. The silver makes these work, I believe, and it's a common theme we'll see across all of these collectibles in this, whatever it was called pack. I'm calling it the Disaster Rescue Pack. Okay, little bits of grime and stuff. You can see it on her face as well. It's on the same on this other side, but the back of these collectibles, without saying the word toy, oh man, I think a bucket's just come off the front. It's not detailed. Okay, yeah, we've just had a Thandy. Yeah, anyway, we'll just say, look, her bucket's not detailed, which is an important thing to point out, and as for trying to get this back on, I'm going to struggle, and we're just going to give up, aren't we? Anyway, there she is there without a bucket. She's looking naked at the moment, but it's a very, very nice rendition of Thandie the Rail Flipper, and strangely, when she's got her goggles and stuff on the other variations they sell of her, she tends to be a peg sitter. That's what I've noticed, okay? And I've also noticed in the one that I've got, which I can't find now, but this piece here breaks very easily, this little bit of plastic. As for why when she's got her face covered she doesn't sell, I don't know why, but when she first came out, she tended not to sit around. Often little Thandie the Flipper is connected to Carly. Not that I watch the show, but I have noticed things like this, okay? And I dare say there's a little symbiont relationship going on there. Hope it's nothing more than that. And Carly looks nice as well. Again, it's that silver. It's really nice and shiny silver. It makes everything else seem to pop. Unfortunately, the boom arm is not done. It should have been done. The wheels look excellent. Across the back is not done, but that's sort of normal. The face and everything looks nice. Okay, all the grime and everything I don't understand. The buffers are done. Remember, the box told us nothing about what this pack is called. Very important to keep saying this. Should have been done, Mr. Mattel. Who's going to get sacked for that one? It won't be me, because I don't work there. Anyway, it's a very, very nice rendition of Carly. I'm assuming she's a popular character. Okay, maybe you can tell me. I freaking don't watch the show. I don't want to. Next is Percy, and I've seen many Percys over the years, and this one's a popper. This really does pop. When you degreen Percy, I think that's the problem with Percy. He's too green. Okay, and strangely his buffers aren't done. He's got grime on his stuff in his face, and grime on the side, of course, and there's grime on this side as well. Again, we don't know why, because nothing was named. We can't tell why. Remember, what did I call it? The Disaster Rescue Pack. Nothing on the back. The buffers aren't done, but this is sort of normal. Nevertheless, Percy, don't forget the Percy voice, looks nice. That's the face there. Sort of surprised. It's very nice. Next is Diesel. I was almost going to say Devious Diesel, but that was the old way Diesel was. Thomas and Friends really used to be Thomas and Frenemies, and I may talk about that in the future at some point. Again, the silver works here. The fact that he's really changed, it makes the top bit, I didn't realise, but it's actually a very dark grey, but you notice it more because of the silver. It makes the top stand out more. It looks spiffo there. Nothing going on in the back, though strangely the back buffer beam there has got, and buffers are done, which doesn't make any sense. That's his face there. It looks great. The face on this is great. In a sense, we've sort of got to that sneaky, oily, greasy way Diesel is. That's what is. Maybe they've woken up, and you know, I'll bring up a native Diesel soon. You'll start to understand why I've just said maybe they've woken up. Looks great. It really does. I mean, this is going to stand out in my Diesel collection big time. And I will bring up a native Diesel here, as in the native AEG Diesel. And I never did a review about the Diesels. I could have easily done it. I've got a lot of Diesel examples. I didn't like the purple they did on these, but it was the face which I thought was a failure on the native Diesel. And I think I heard people calling it dope face, as in it looks like it's on drugs. It just looks stupid. But I think this new Disaster Rescue Pack, is what I'm calling it, Diesel, looks correct. That's the way Diesel should be. Like, sort of, you don't really know what he's up to. You don't know whether he's a friend or a foe. And that's the way Diesel should always be. Remember, it should be Thomas and Frenemies. That's what's wrong with the franchise now, because they've lost touch with the dark side. You need to have the dark side. Disney to know about the dark side, you've got to have death. Okay, so that's what works, unfortunately. But this is a stunning Diesel in my books. Okay, I'm really giving it the thumbs up, and I'm a very, very hard marker. Of course, along comes Thomas's next. And this is a spectacular Thomas. Again, the silver is the thing that's making these work, because we've got away from the normal colours that go on. It's got a great face. Strangely, the buffers aren't painted on the front here. Okay, it's across the top. It's got all those little bits of dirt and markings, and as for why, remember, the box told us nothing. That's the other side there. It looks fantastic. If only it was this good all the time. Across the back is nothing, but that's sort of normal. It just looks fantastic, and look, you know, I am the hardest marker when it comes to looking at this stuff. Now, I'm going to bring up a native ordinary All Engines Go Thomas here, And you'll just see how this disaster rescue pack, as I'm calling it, stands out so much. It really does pop. It really pops. You know, in my Thomas collection, this silver-ish styled, very, very nicely detailed Thomas is going to stand out a lot. It's going to be probably one of my favorites, and I'm really, really tough when it comes to talking about Thomases here. Yeah, you know, when I saw this in store, I thought this is the way it should be done. Finally, I've got something All Engines Go-ish, which is frippin' awesome. Okay, these Mattel collection toy collectibles, Thomas and Friends All Engines Go, are not natively powered, but I've got a little trick to make these run on the motorized track. I've got to keep remembering the new names to all this. And if I'm really lucky, I can get this going without a train wreck starting, especially if Sandy the rail flipper doesn't play up underneath diesel there. And if I just very gently bring these back the other way, we can start to see the Thomas and Friends glory that's up for show. I'm telling you, this looks fantastic, especially the way the wheels are turning. Wow, you can't keep your eyes off this one. It's beautiful. Just going around the back there. It's almost mesmerizing, isn't it, watching those wheels? It looks completely and utterly spiffo. I can tell you this, and I'm not kidding here, this is one of the best looking Thomas and Friends packs that I've laid my eyes on for a very long time. And remember, they're not natively powered. It's only working because I've got that secret weapon pushing along the back. It's a core of a Trackmaster 2 train, and the Mattel collection works on Trackmaster track. Everything seems to work on the same track now. My God, it's taken decades to get to that point. And just the more I look at this, I just think, wow, you know, it's one of the greatest collections that I've seen. If only I knew its name. That Thomas there is just so awesome looking, but hey, so's Percy, and so's Diesel. It looks great, especially those yellow wheels, and so's little Fanny the Flipper, and you know, so's Carly. It's all frippin' awesome. Next up, I'll shoot some slow-mo of this set, and I'll do a bit of talking over the top, hey? Or maybe it would be better if we just did track sound and slow motion instead of me babbling on like a goose. Yeah, I think that'd be much nicer. Okay, I'm back in the real world here. I'll get control of the turntable again. Yeah, wow, just shooting this is just beautiful. I don't know, it's doing it for me. I've seen a lot of Thomas and Friends toys, but tell you what, this is one of the better ones. I'm not paid by Mattel to sing the praises of this. I just say it as I see it. Now let me just pull this up, move that in there. I'm just going to show you what I don't like about All Engines Go from the few episodes that I've watched. And I'll tell you what, I really struggled watching it because I sort of come from a different generation of looking at the show. So the classic TV era, back in the latter part of the 80s. Now, when you have All Engines Go, you have, let's say, two engines, and they come up and have a bit of a chat to each other. There's all this sort of jumping around and there's this, the thing I really hate is when it sort of jumps up in the air and does this twiddle, 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 and lands back on the tracks and then takes off in that direction. That just grinds on me so much. But apart from the character drift, and there's lots of character drift, the fact we've got no frenemies, it's all just too gay and happy. It's the jumping around on the track. And I remember when Chuggington was first around and people didn't like the way things were moving on the tracks. And well, if you didn't like Chuggington the way things jumped around, you're going to hate All Engines Go, because all of this crap, then spinning and then landing back here and just going, yeah, it just grinds on me. Maybe it grinds on you, or maybe you really enjoy it. I'm sure you're going to tell me I better fix up Percy. People don't like to see Percy in a train wreck. So this collection of Thomas toys, it was made in Thailand from memory. Let me just get this all back on track and pointing the right way. Or something like that. I think Percy's in the wrong spot. It made me look at the other Thomas and Friends All Engines Go stuff that I've got, or the newer stuff. Not all of it's All Engines Go. The metal collection stuff is, without dropping it on the floor, is starting to appear very slowly. This is made in Thailand as well. So you'll know it's the newer stock when it's got this down the side. The stock lines into where I live have been shocking. So made in Thailand is just there. I'm not going to get too carried away on this. This is the new motorized stock that I'm seeing. So it's got the strip down here motorized. At least James, and I might talk about this extensively in another video, the black lines are getting darker, but it's still not quite there. Okay, so we're getting close. It's a vast improvement. This is made in China, and we haven't got near the information that we need to see here and the other characters that are in the collection. That's what's missing still. Okay, the Thomas Wooden Railway stock, it's made in Indonesia. It's sort of like the odd one out in a sense. As for why it's made in Indonesia, I don't know. Maybe because of the wood component of it. The back of the box, it's just so micro printed. It's just there. Okay, you have to believe me on that. It says made in Indonesia. This newer stock here, a little push along stuff. I've already looked at some of this. I sort of like this. I can see where it sits in the whole deal. It's sort of cutie pie, blah blah blah, and fun to play with. Push along, and this is made in China. Okay, fabricated China. Something there. And what have I got here? Oh, it's an Emily. That's something else that I found. Like, I get excited if I see something a little bit different. And again, I think we're looking at Thailand. Yeah, Thailand for anything like that. So a couple of different countries being represented in where that stuff's been made. But what I found at my Aldi in the lead up to Christmas was All Engines Go Tattletales. And I'm not going to look at this extensively at the moment, but it's very interesting to look at the Tattletales of Thomas and Friends versus My Little Pony and Disney Cars. Tattletales is a smaller format of My Busy Books. It's the same collectibles as you will see in a My Busy book. This is All Engines Go, of course. I'm very curious to see what's going on in here versus what's represented on the back of the box. Now, I've already done a very, very extensive look into this via the My Busy Books, and that video did my head in. I had to really be careful what I was showing and the way I was showing it, and hopefully what I showed there was all correct. I haven't been pulled up for it, but what I don't understand here is, this is All Engines Go, of course, but when I look at My Little Pony, these are all for sale on Aldi in Australia. The ponies here actually look very similar to what you see here. Disney cars, there's other franchises as well, but I just pulled out a few that I liked. The cars here look very, very similar to what you see going on the back here. So why doesn't All Engines Go get the same deal? And the biggest mystery to me is, why is Canna done almost perfectly, yet Nia, Percy and Thomas all look like train wrecks? I don't understand why. 4 weeks prior to Christmas, and I've done this in previous years, I went into the city, a lot of nutcases in the city these days, very carefully went into the city, went to the major retailers to take a look at the way the Thomas & Friends stock is shown before Christmas. I think it's very important to see. Remembering this is the major retailers, these are the pinnacle points in Sydney, Australia, where I live. And I was impressed initially with what I saw, but when I took a closer look at what was available, I could see the cracks in the ice sheet were appearing, and really the way it was displayed, now I gave more thought into what was there, and I came home and I thought, well, hang on a second, I saw a whole bunch of Thomas stuff, but a whole bunch of it was presented in such an awkward way. How do you really know what's there? This is a premium toy, and it's not being displayed in the premium way that it should be, and the way that it used to be, which we're going to investigate when I get round to this video, because I want to go back into town either just before Christmas, like on Christmas Eve, and that's a dangerous time to go in because it could be manic, or I'll go in there just after Boxing Day and see what's going on. Again, it could be, that could be manic. That is going to be manic. But when I was in there the 4 weeks before Christmas, I spoke to some people who were there buying Thomas & Friends stuff as well, and it was very interesting to hear the way they explained their children and how they played, especially with the Thomas Wooden Railway toys. And there was something that it actually, we know this has been a problem, and we know it's missing, and there was a recall of some of this stuff, and what is not there, because the way children are playing with these toys is they're using other engines as rolling stock. And it made me look at a big pile of this Thomas Wooden Railway, this old collection that I purchased during, I'll put a word up on the screen, okay? During that time, I went to another house and I collected a whole bunch of Thomas Wooden Railway, and I went back to looking at, we're looking at right now, and I'll show you what's in that versus what's not available in today's Thomas Wooden Railway. Okay, this is the tub of classic Thomas Wooden Railway that I purchased. It wasn't cheap. I was really only after one thing in this tub, but I'm really glad I bought the whole tub, because this is going to paint a picture and tell a story of things to come, and it really shows us the way Thomas should have been done. That's really all I wanted, was the gold wooden Thomas. Now, after I had a chat to the gentleman in town and he told me of the way his children play, I looked at this and I thought to myself, well, okay, well, what's in here that is missing in today's Thomas Wooden Railway? And it's very obvious now, isn't it? It's all of the rolling stock. And when I looked in here, there's a lot of rolling stock. Okay, the more I look around here, the more I'm going to find. And that's what we need to get back into. I think we've lost some rolling stock because of the recall. Okay, wow, there's some fantastic, I really haven't looked properly in here yet. There's some fantastic finds. And really, it's an insight into how grand this toy used to be, as in past tense. Will we ever get back there? That's the big question. It's the silly season, and in this season, this seems to pull the silly prices online. It's the Thomas & Friends Take and Play Special Edition, not Limited Edition, Golden Thomas. Okay, it's a 2014 toy, so that means in 2024, it's a 10-year-old toy. Now, I'm a little bit worried because some of the ones I've got are starting to show a strange anomaly happening on the gold. It's tricky to show on camera. If I tilt it like this and maybe flare it a bit like that, it's starting to look a little bit wrinkly on the golden area. I hope he's not falling apart. I remember when this Thomas came out and its natural price in Australia was $10, and then I saw it slip to $8, and I think a few went for $5. And the problem with this Thomas was it was the dumb magnet era Thomas. It had the big dumb magnet. The previous version of this Thomas had the small magnet system, and the smart magnet system was on those collectibles, without saying the word toys, for a long time. Look, the packaging here is fine, and when you're purchasing one of these, what's really important to look at, if you're looking at it as something, oh, I'm going to keep this and, you know, maybe sell it on later on, you got to look at the card condition. Is really, really important. The ones that I'm seeing online, the card condition on some of them is a little bit sketchy, but I'm seeing the high prices this time around. It's about, call it $200 plus $20 postage. I'd be very cautious buying that. It's always touted as the last one. I bet you it's not. You know, it's sort of funny. These sellers seem to always have the last one, then all of a sudden another one appears. Other sellers have got them at different prices. You can sort of see what's going on there. There are some which are out of box or being played with. Then again, I can't see the value in that. Maybe you can. Maybe you're going to restore it, or I don't know what you're going to do. You know, if it's got Thomas Love, well, look, it's got value in a sense. Yes, it's Thomas Love in it, but really, it's a trash the toy. That's the hard facts about it. I'd be very wary buying one of these anywhere online, especially if what is shown in the photo is different to what turns up at your place. I would be sending it back and asking for a refund if that happens.
My fripping God, is that over? He didn't even say goodbye. He didn't even have the courtesy to say goodbye. And he made out he didn't know the name of that Thomas pack. Well, has he ever heard of going online and Googling it? Even I know how to Google stuff to work out what it's called, but this clown doesn't know anything about that. He's so old, he's so stupid, and he's a frippin' psychopath. Come a bit closer and I'll tell you a little secret. Don't get too close. Guess what? He knows absolutely frippin' nothing. Oh! I can rejoice in the fact he knows nothing, and for the fact he's out of here, and I can take over and try to work out where he's putting frippin' flamethrower, so I can burn the ass out of his Thomas and friends. Thomas wouldn't roll away Thomas, and I've been holding on all this frippin' year, and when it comes time that I'm going to incinerate this and leave just ash for him to ponder, it's going to do his mind in. He's going to break, he's going to snap, and he's going to cry, and that day is coming. Hey, this does look pretty good. I'm going to call it the Elf Disaster Thomas.
Oops, I forgot to grab the running sheet to help me make this video. Very important thing to have. But hang on a second. What's going on here? I didn't leave this collection of beautiful Thomas AEG stuff like this. Something's been messing around down here. I can only assume it's Bubble. She's got a bit of a fantasy about coming down here, pretending she does what I do here. Okay, that's been set up straight. And I'm hearing the strangest sound down here. And this has been going on for a while now. It's really, really creeping me out. Anyway, I'll grab the running sheet, and this will help me make the video.